So you receive a request to calculate the total sales for gloves. In Power BI, you create a new measure and attach it to a card. A week later, you get another request to calculate total sales for a different product. You create a different measure and you add it to a different card. Before you know it, you have 20 measures and 20 cards, and your report is running really slowly. If this is you, stay tuned because I'll show you how to correct it. So let's head over into Power BI, and I'm going to show you exactly what could be going on. What we have here are 4 different cards. If I click on one of them, we've got a measure that calculates the total sales for the product subcategory that is called gloves. Now, if I go to my next card, what you will see that looking at this measure, we're calculating total sales for the product subcategory that is called helmets. And so on. We've got one for shorts and another one for mountain bikes. Now, take notice that for each one of these measures, which I will show you here one at a time, everything is the same except for the product subcategory name. That is the only thing that changes. And so when you're creating measures, what you can do is understand if there are similar dimensions that are being looked for. If you want to filter on certain dimensions, then you only need one measure. Let me explain what I mean. What we have are 4 separate measures, each filtering on the same column within the same table. So if I go to my dim product subcategory table, what you can see is that we have a column here called name with our list of product subcategories. So we only need one measure that will then allow us to filter on whichever one of these subcategories we want to filter on. Let's go ahead and create that measure. That measure will be total sales. Now, if we take one of our existing measures, we already have some of our sales amount. That's all we need. We don't need to wrap it in a calculate. So let's copy that and paste it into a new measure. I'm going to call this measure total sales. And simply paste that back in. I'll press enter, and I'm going to format this as a US dollar, which is the same as my other measures. Now that we have that, what I'm going to do is drag it into a visual. So I'm going to create a multi-row card for this. And let's make that a bit bigger. What I'm going to do now is 2 things. The first is I'm going to bring in my subcategory. So let's drag that in. And the next thing that I'm going to do is bring in my measure total sales. Now what you can see here is that we've got total sales for each individual subcategory. And we can check that this works by having a look at our glove sales here on the left, which is 35.02 thousand. And let's go to glove sales here, and we get the same number. And if you look at helmets, it's the same story. If you go to shorts, you'll see that it's also the same. And mountain bikes will also be the same. So what we have done is turn multiple measures into one, because we've taken out the individual filtering. Now, if you wanted to create a visual that showed the total sales for only 4 of these subcategories, then this is what you do. If it's not already selected, go to View at the top and make sure this Filters box is selected. When it is selected, you'll find this here on the right. The first thing you want to do is select your visual. In our case, it will be this multi-row card. Now that it's selected, you will see here it says filters on this visual. This is where you want to drag in your dimension, in our case, the product subcategory name. Now, because this field is already within our visual, you can see that we have our name column here. We simply need to expand it And from here, we can select the dimensions that we want. So let's go to gloves, followed by helmets, shorts, and mountain bikes. Now bearing in mind, you can also search and type if you want as well. If you have hundreds to choose from, this will probably be the easier way to do it. So going back to our visual, we now have the numbers that we have on the left showing for the same 4 product subcategories that we have on the left. However, because we brought it in one visual, we have a little bit more freedom. For instance, at the moment, as you will notice, it is ordering by the subcategory name in alphabetical order: gloves, helmets, mountain bikes, and then shorts. But what if we wanted to show the product subcategory with the highest number of total sales? Well, on the left, using these individual cards, you couldn't do that without, dragging them around. But do you honestly want to be doing that every time your report refreshes? No. So what you can do instead is have one visual. The next thing you can do is go to the 3 dots up here where it says more options and sort by. As you can see, we're already sorting in ascending order by name. Here's where we can change it. We'll change it to total sales. And as you can see now, it's sorting in ascending order by total sales. We can change it again by sort descending. So we select that, and now our visual has changed, which is great because it means that every time our report gets refreshed, the order will automatically update itself as well, so there is no additional work for you to do. So this is why it can be important to plan ahead before you start creating measures, because you may realize that you can actually roll up multiple measures and multiple visuals into one. If you learned something new, please leave the video a thumbs up and subscribe to learn more.